Hello everyone and welcome to a beautiful new episode of the StudioMEcast. I am your host, Peter, joining you from StudioME Speakeasy, and if you like the look and sound of this podcast, well, you can book it yourself at StudioME.me. Don't forget to subscribe if you're the kind of person who does that, and also if you're the kind of person who just listens to these podcasts, we're happy you're here, but if you take a look at your screen, you'll see some B-roll of our brand new location, the Meetup, which is in Oakland. It's an automated studio, and it's got a whole new thing going on. We've got all of our best technology in there. People have really been enjoying it. We hope you do too. But enough of all that, because today I'm joined in the studio once again by not just a special guest, but two special guests who have been here before. We have Rick Dutrow and Stephanie Swift. They are here to talk about all kinds of things. We're going to be talking about acting, the 48, which they both participated in, and of course, StudioME is a proud sponsor of the Pittsburgh 48-Hour Film Project, and we are very proud to be sponsoring the Acting Awards, so best of luck, break legs, and all that to our independent filmmakers here in Pittsburgh. Make sure that you check out the link in the description below for the screening on June 2nd as well. But as I said, I think before or every time, enough of all that. Rick and Stephanie, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having us on. And I have my StudioME shirt.
Yeah.
And you have the B-roll shirt on, we will say, just because you got the B's and the gold. And see, I told you I'd hit the microphone.
It's all right.
Don't talk with my hands.
No worries. And then, Rick, you've got one of my favorite shirts as well. Our
48.
City of Champions. Love it.
That's right.
Excellent stuff. Well, we're all very styling today.
Yes.
But let's get into the 48. This year, y'all worked on the same 48, which you've done before as well. You've worked together a lot.
Jeez.
You're married. We mentioned that on previous episodes, but in case you're new, welcome everybody. But Stephanie, you've done some directing on a horror sci-fi 48 this past fall, and but you both worked together on stuff. So what for this film, your film's
Stephanie
called...
directed me in that 48.
I did in the one in the fall.
Oh, that's right, because you were in that one.
I do a
That's
cameo.
right. For Iniquitous,
Iniquitous, yes.
Yeah, and I did get to direct his scene, which was really great.
Who's the favorite actor you ever directed?
Oh, jeez.
Was that the first time that, I know that was your first filmmaking directing experience, but was that the first time that you had directed Rick? I
would say, in terms of like actually directing Rick, and not a self-tape, not something that was not viewed by others. Yeah, that was the first time I literally got to direct him, and we were, it was the 11th hour. I think it was like 2 o'clock at night, something like that.
It was definitely 1 o'clock.
Yeah, it was really late,
AM.
and Johnny got everything set up. He was, doing all the cinematography, and the way that the shot was, the lighting was a little bit difficult, so we were trying to get it from the right angle from the perspective of the door, because that's important because of the character that's caught inside the house.
Yeah, it's a point of view.
Exactly, shot. POV. And all of a sudden it was like, well, we got to get this, because as time's rolling on, literally rolling on, I said, we got to get the line. He had the line that had to be exact. And from my mother... What was it?
Explain that real quick for people that
don't
don't understand.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I was thinking of another 48 about my mother.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, I learned this.
Explain to everybody what you're talking about.
Yeah, requirements for the 48.
Oh, yeah, the requirements for the 48. So there's a character, which this round
every film has to have a certain
Ted Gold or Tina Gold, unemployed. So they have to have their character, like what they are or who they are.
Yeah, the script has to have that character.
Let's see here. Then also the line that has to be verbatim, and it has to be exact, or else you get disqualified.
This recent 48 was
thank you for
being my friend.
Yes. So you have to have the line, "Thank you for being my friend." You have to have this character,
and then the length.
A prop.
Oh yeah, the prop. This time around it was a compact mirror. And then for Iniquitous, it was a Band-Aid, or bandages.
Yes.
And then...
An adhesive bandage.
An adhesive bandage, yes. Very specific, because, there's bandages that aren't adhesive.
It's like the mummy bandages.
Right.
That's right. And
especially for a horror.
And the length, too. I think, 7 minutes or less with the actual...
Yeah, it's got to be between 3 and 7
3
minutes,
and 7?
not including the end credits, I believe. I don't know if they sometimes have some wiggle room on, like, it's 7.5 minutes or what, but yeah, it's typically around there, and then also every team gets 2 different genres to pick from. So what were the genres that you pulled for this film?
We pulled drama. What was the second one? Because they didn't go with it. Was it coming of age or buddy? It was something that fish out of water. It was something that they said, drama. We have a guy here that can pull off the drama. And I think they knew immediately with the strong team members that we had with Jess Euler and then with Rick.
Jess kills
oh my gosh, Jess does a fantastic job. She just really does. In fact, I would love to at some point direct her in a 48, and then Rick again.
You don't have to do much.
No,
she's like just so.
That's a dream to work with actors that are so strong. You don't really have to do a whole lot of directing.
Yeah, there's when everybody's on the same page with the story. You don't have to teach anybody how to act, that kind of thing. It's
sorry, I wasn't feeling that, Rick. No, I'm kidding.
No. But the now for this, speaking of that though, like let's just get straight into the film. It's called Anything at All, and we'll skirt around spoilers and all that kind of thing. But this film starts with the main character being in a state of like just heightened emotional distress, like just from the get-go. All right, we're already emotionally in it. Did you have any type of lead-in or prep for when that for you, Rick, at the beginning of like when you first started rolling the beginning of the film? I don't know if you all shot in order. It seems like you probably did.
Well, that was the first question I had when I met my call time on set was, are we filming sequentially? And they said, we're going to try to do that. That's our plan. Because that was important for me to understand where I had to be emotionally in each scene, each moment. Because it changes greatly from one moment to another. So I wanted to know how I could prepare the best that I could prepare for the sequence. So they did shoot in sequence, which made it, I think, simpler for them and simpler for me. To follow the timeline that was inherent in the script.
Right.
So as far as preparation, I didn't have much time to prepare at all, really. We got the script in the middle of the night.
Yeah, about 4 a.m.
I think it was like 3 a.m.
Yeah.
I think that I noticed it because I heard my phone ding. I purposely kept it by my bedside and on so I could hear it. And I heard, it woke me up. I got an email. And I looked and saw the script. I read it in bed real quickly, not even awake. Just so I had I could start, start the wheels turning.
Start dreaming about it.
Basically, yeah. Put it into my subconscious. And I didn't read the directions. There's a lot of narrative in the script. I really scanned that. So when I got to set in the morning, I think my call was like 9 a.m. or is it 8 a.m. or 9 a.m., 10 a.m., somewhere in that span. I forget the exact time. The first thing I did was ask, hey, are we going to film sequentially? And the director said, let me check and with the cinematographer, and right away they said, Rick, we're going to try to shoot sequentially. So I just started approaching the script. The thing that caught me off guard was as I read the script in detail then on set, I saw that my character had MS, multiple sclerosis. And I'm like, wow, how did I miss that last night when I scanned through it? But it's just literally one small sentence. The Ted has MS, I think.
Which is through the whole thing. So whatever kind of thought and prep you had before that, I imagine you had to maybe not completely undo, but like incorporating that.
Yeah, I didn't know how to depict having MS exactly. And I did a quick Google search. I had maybe 10 minutes.
Wow.
And within that 10 minutes, I just got a kind of an outline of some of the symptoms of MS, and I saw that there were the MS symptoms can flare up and can subside a little bit. And so I kind of went with that, and a lot of it I just winged. And I do have a friend who has MS, so I thought of that more, not in preparation, but more as I went and as we shot. I thought more of my friend who has it.
So when you're getting started, like right before the first take, how much time, what does it look like when you're getting ready for that first take on this project to get in that space? Are you kind of off by yourself a little bit? Are you talking with the director? It's directed by Jamie Chalmers as well.
Right.
A lot of the, I think, was Lance Parkin involved on
No,
this?
not
Okay.
not with this.
No, but Matt Schultz wrote it.
Matt Schultz wrote it, and then Jeff Smee shot it,
Shot
and
it.
Jamie Chalmers, and then
And I think
Jackie did the music.
The music,
for it.
She did, and she was the
Fantastic.
producer,
And
and
the
she
producer, yeah.
ran basically everything. She also wrote the title song, Anything at All, so she did
Wonderful.
all of that.
And Jeff did the editing.
Yeah.
Stephanie did some voice work on
I
it.
did strictly voiceover work for this, and I play, this isn't a spoiler alert, but I've played Rick's wife before. I've played his sister, but I've never played his daughter. But the beauty of voiceover work is you can modulate your voice, you can be that, and it's not super creepy and weird. It brings the emotional point to where in the script you find that he's so downtrodden that he needs hope, and I feel that maybe there's some hope with reconnecting with his daughter. What's your daughter's name, honey?
Well, they asked me, Rick, do you have a request for your daughter's name? It could,
that's cool.
before we shoot, it could be any name you want. And I said, well, my real daughter, his name is Carly. So if we could use Carly's name, I would think that would be just a nice little touch for me, personally, emotionally, and within, in my heart. And so they said, yeah, Carly it is. So my daughter.
So I get to be Carly Gold.
So
I hope
Stephanie
hope I
played
did
the
her
voice of my
justice,
daughter, and
Yep.
we got to use the real name of my daughter, Carly.
That's really nice. So now, so if everybody would like to see this film, which I know you do, make sure you look in the description below, get your tickets. The 48's always a wonderful, fun screening. You never know what you're going to get. All kinds of genres,
It's
all
sold
kinds
out.
of towns.
Yeah, it actually sold out.
Never mind, everybody. It's too late.
Sorry.
Hope to see you
Yeah,
there.
I know.
Yeah.
Wait for everything to get posted
Yeah.
slowly. But, well, anyway, well, that's wonderful news. I'm glad to hear that is sold out.
Yeah,
I got my
sure.
ticket already, so haha.
Great.
Me too.
See you there.
But
Me too.
so now let's get in more to y'all have worked together a lot on stage, and we've talked a little bit about just in previous episodes, directing on stage versus on screen.
Right.
I know that, Stephanie, you've been more interested in directing more and more. Most of the time, I think when we've talked, that's been the context of films. But do you have an interest in or experience with directing stage productions as well?
I just had the opportunity.
Oh,
yeah.
well, please tell us about that.
I co-directed with Caroline Lipinski. She just recently graduated from Point Park, and really wonderful person. We worked so well together. She's more on the dramaturgy, context side of it, and the dialogue and the history. Because she's a writer, whereas that's not as much my background. But so where I came into the picture was I provided the blocking and some of the acting feedback, just being the person that had primarily been on the acting side of theater. So she and I really just piggybacked on each other, and that collaboration did work. So
when you talk about her, sorry, could you give the name again for your co-director?
It's Caroline Lipinski.
Caroline Lipinski. So when you were talking about blocking versus dialogue directing, what did that dialogue directing look like? Because is that an accent thing? What was that kind
Blocking.
Yeah.
Maybe for people that don't know what blocking is.
What?
It's literally so blocking
traffic patterns
would be.
of the,
that's a good description, Rick. So the traffic pattern, but also where you want to allow the actors to interact with each other, to not be literally blocking each other, or to be seen by the audience, or to be delivering a certain line of text that's very important.
That's body
that
positioning.
has to be body positioning.
Oh, so you mean like incorporating the blocking with the dialogue, that kind of thing?
So it's all all encompassing. Right. So you would have somebody place, like for instance, the play is Animal Farm. If you read it in high school, a lot of people did. I know I did. So basically, the important aspect of this was it was theater on two sides. So you had your audience on both sides at the Carnegie stage. So you had audience sitting like where you're sitting and where we're sitting, and then in between is where the actors would be, because it can be configured, different ways. You can have the audience in the back, and then you can have the actors in the front.
Is it a thrust stage where it's like
a black box?
It's a black box.
Okay,
so
cool.
It's flexible in terms of what you can do. But what was great about it is we had a cast of 10. And Jess was in it as well, Jess Euler, and she did a fantastic job. She played Squealer, and I got to direct Jess. Awesome. Yeah, she was super strong with everything she delivered. She had this one monologue that was all these facts and figures, and she just spewed them out. And she wore a pig nose, so she had to have that prosthetic pig nose. Yeah, and Sam Lander, who is a Point Park graduate, played Napoleon, and he was really strong. Our friend Andy Nesky was in it as 2 roles, so he played beginning and end. He was Major, who is the bore that delivers like a 4-page monologue and then passes away.
And he killed it.
Yeah, he really did.
Yeah.
And then at the end he plays Pilkington, so he had a British accent. I didn't have to give him any coaching on that. He was fine. But we didn't do any accents. We did more, it was played to the emotion and to the fact that as the Marxist and communist regime takes over, it becomes more utilitarian, like as in military style dictatorship. And all of these animals have to succumb to that. And we had really such a great diverse cast. In fact, Kat Bowman, who is up for Best Actress for her film for the 48, played 3 different characters in Animal Farm.
Wow.
And she did a great job in all of them. So some individuals had to do dual roles or had to play 3 different characters within the
It's funny how
play.
common and acceptable that is in theater versus like if you do that in a movie, it has to be Monty Python or something, or like it's a gag. But in theater, you can maintain that serious tone with something and like just have dual role. A lot of roles are written to be with that kind of in mind of like, okay, well, we've got a limited cast probably for this production, will work for that.
Yeah.
So that's just one of the things that people talk about, the differences between the art forms a lot, but that's something that I'm not sure I hear gets talked about as much as like how common dual roles are for stage productions versus in a movie. It's like you can't do that.
Yeah.
Kinda. But who played Boxer?
Oh, Boxer was his name.
Character.
That was Matt Tracy.
Okay.
And let me just tell you, he
awesome
brought
too.
the emotion. Oh my gosh, that final, the windmill scene when he's being carted off. I mean, I just every night, like in the afternoon, tears. Like it just was so heartfelt because it goes from hopeful, to like we're maybe going to be able to see the light at the end of this proverbial workhorse like tunnel to now, you're being carted off to the glue factory, sorry to give it away. But they don't believe that because they don't want to believe that. But everybody.
When was Animal Farm written? It was a while.
Geez, actually 1945. Because it
Right
was
after-
written. Oh yeah,
right around World War II.
Timing.
Let's
How about
just
that?
say
Yes.
let's just say the communists and Russia. George Orwell was not a big. He was not a big fan.
Just as World War
Like,
II
Hot
was.
take. Yeah. Right.
They were not
winding
too
down.
pleased. So I mean that's one of those plays though that's not done very often. It's only 1 hour and 10 minutes.
Oh.
Like total. Not There's no intermission there. It's just straight through. It's 48 pages.
Wow.
A lot of dialogue-driven things. Now, there were 2 battles. We did have a fight choreographer. Kaylee George came in to help. And then this was done by Stage Work Productions. I didn't mention that prior. But remember I had talked about The Haunting of Hill House? That's a company I had done The Haunting of Hill House with and they're primarily out of Carnegie Stage. So going from that to this, just straight through, I mean, it was a dream, because Haunting of Hill House was almost like 2 hours and 35 minutes or 40 minutes.
Yeah.
It was a long one, I think 129 pages or something like that. So this was really nice. We were done by 9 o'clock every night. I mean, we'd run through the show sometimes twice in rehearsals. And
you can drink more beer then.
That's right.
After.
Yeah.
Riley's Poorhouse. No, I don't know if I'm allowed to say that, but that's right down the street.
Well, that's great.
One of the sponsors.
Yeah, I love. I haven't seen.
That's
the
right. They
stage
sponsor
production.
the 48 too.
Oh, are they?
Riley.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well done. So yeah, I mean, I haven't seen the stage production of Animal Farm, but I've read the book, and seeing how that could translate to stage it's like, oh yeah, this would really work out great. So I'm glad that it was such a good experience as well. Directing. What was, I guess, was there anything particularly challenging about directing Animal Farm that might not be something that is a challenge in most stage productions?
I would say the big challenge for us was we got in the space 2 weeks early, which is like a dream, because normally you're there just tech week. But the blocking that we just talked about on 2 sides, it's so hard to do it effectively and engage everybody without turning your back at any given time.
Yeah.
Because there's really no perfect position. So we did levels. So like if someone sat down on the bay of the hail. I mean, I said that backwards. You know what I mean? So it was like the hay, they sat down on that. And then sometimes what was nice about having the levels too is it gave strength to one character that was maybe an elevated person. So like for instance, Napoleon, who ended up being the big dictator at the end, he had a higher level on the porch or in the house, because the house, we had it open, so it was very neat how we created with platforms those dimensions. So we had like the highest one, then we had the middle, and then we had the lowest, which was where the animals were. So they were like the groundlings almost. So you didn't have the power when you were on that level to deliver any sort of important dialogue.
Right.
But the fight choreography was all done there, and it was, I think, really effective. There were 2 battles, the Battle of the Cowshed and the Revolution. And just seeing that
Battle of the cow what?
The Cowshed.
Oh.
Did you think I said cow? The Battle of the Cowshed, not shit.
Well, I was just thinking that all your characters except for one they're animals. So
That's true.
There are no cows.
So there's a lot of shoveling
Yeah.
during rehearsals and after performances because of all the barnyard animals. You have to clean up after them.
Yeah.
And
And
then
you should
the
have seen their
food-
mannerisms. Are they
And
called?
the food in the green room's a lot different because they're animals.
Oh yes. Yeah. Yeah,
That's right. They were just
birdseed and
grazing
all.
in the back.
Yeah, you need a lot
One at a
of
time.
grass,
Method acting.
some hay, and
Truly. But their mannerisms, if you want to call it that, because they weren't really human-like. I mean, they became more human-like, I should say. But their animalisms, we'll call it that, were just fantastic from the beginning. And Caroline and I did not give a ton of direction that way. We said, what you feel, like, please just do that. And then if it was way off base, we would just say, that's not really working for that
it
animal.
was very well done.
Thank you.
It really was. Very
He's
well
not
done.
even just saying that because I'm here.
Well,
No,
for
I enjoyed
both
it.
of you being together, when you're acting together, all right, moving into that, is it something where, do you have to be conscious about, like, you've worked together a lot, all right? Is it easy to fall into habits? Is that a good thing? Is it what's being brought on the page? What is it like because when you're acting together, yeah, there's the whole cast, but I imagine there's probably another level of collaboration that probably happens between both of you. Is that a fair assumption?
I think it's probably more about us preparing for a character. The script kind of delineates the relationship. So I think a lot of it will be us preparing to be who we are supposed to be. For me, that's and then I'm very familiar with Stephanie's work because we've worked together for how many years now?
Jeez,
9.
It's going to be 9.
Yeah, 9 years. So there's a lot that we don't have to say because we know each other,
right?
And that can also lead to a great chemistry, no matter what our characters are. You know, because we have that connection of our souls, or have a connection. So we bring that to our characters, whether she's my wife on screen or
we've had ones where we've had to kill each other. So, right. I mean, like, you know,
she was my mother once.
Yeah. The one that stands out to me that was most difficult, because I had to be devoid of emotion completely because of the nature of my character. I was AI, or I was a robot, was Linger Rhythm.
Linger Rhythm, which was the Cleveland 48.
That won best film. And he played a pretty despicable character, being my husband that really just wanted the money when I died. But when the tables get turned, I think it was super hard for me to not either smile or to laugh. I mean, there were certain points where, as the android, I would do it to show the wife's personality.
Was despicable too.
Oh yeah, well, AI usually is. Am I really?
Did we show you the?
I've seen the film. So, I saw it at Filmapalooza. That's how I found
out
about it. Because
I
I don't know what the other cities usually do, even though Cleveland's close. But yeah, I'm there watching the films, and then I see y'all show up. I'm like, wait, what? It's like, aren't they in Pittsburgh? And then it was Cleveland. Yeah,
they were in Cleveland.
So yeah, it was pretty cool to see. Now, so when y'all work together as actors, are you bouncing ideas off of each other as well? Is that like, are you both a resource for that kind of thing when you're on the same production?
I think it depends on the moments and the characters. A lot of it, I respect her characterization that she brings, and I think she, in a way, respects mine. So we don't want to always know what each one is doing, because then we can take away the reaction that the characters have to have with each other.
I don't want to hinder his process.
Yeah.
But if anything, if we both propel each other forward in the story, that's what. But what I would like directors or writers or anybody out there, write something where we actually get to like love on each other, like, you know, make out. Like we
do that all the time.
But I mean, like, no, I'm just saying I don't always get to. I want to feel. I mean, I feel the love, but I want to really like maybe show the love.
Okay.
Is that? Not like in an inappropriate way.
Some romance.
A romantic comedy.
Lovey-dovey stuff.
We love doing comedies. Do we get the opportunity often to do that? I mean, geez, since Vert, I sort of have a little bit of a cameo comedic role, but a lot of that I got to add in, you know, about like, don't you run through there, like just kind of being a goofy front desk lady that, you know, does that. But
and I look so young on camera. It's sometimes hard to get us to look like a couple because she tends to look a lot older than me.
Oh.
Okay, I think you should edit that out.
Yeah, maybe we edit that. Can we edit that?
No,
that's funny.
It's fine. I don't even know how to say it.
But yeah, I mean, but I hear that, you know, it's like, that's kind of cool that you brought that up because sometimes I think a really popular question that actors get asked a lot, tell me if anyone's ever asked you, like, do you have a dream role? Has anyone ever asked you that? Because I usually avoid asking actors that because I've kind of figured, I mean, it's not always a bad question to ask, but I've had some people tell me directly, fortunately not when I ask them, but some people have told me, like, don't ever ask me that. I'm like, all right. Yeah. But you just brought up, hey, it would be nice to do some romance and all that. And I've seen one of an actor I enjoy a lot, Zahn McClarnon. He's on Reservation Dogs and a bunch of other shows and all that. He usually plays like a scary bad guy. You know, he's got this face and he's good for it, but Reservation Dogs, he gets to be comedic. But I saw an interview with him where he's like, it'd be nice to do a romance. I'm always playing like a bad guy. Everyone thinks I'm scary. And he's like, I'd do something more like me, you know. But is that, has anyone ever asked y'all before, like, do you have a dream role? That kind of thing. What do you think about that question?
I mean, I think we've been asked questions like that in the past. Sometimes it changes as time goes on. Like when I was a child and I first started to get interested in acting, it was the old movies that I'd see on TV that inspired me, and a lot of those were like the Lon Chaney Wolfman movies and the Bela Lugosi movies and Boris Karloff and Frankenstein, and I always had a desire to play a monster-like character, especially a wolfman who went in between, a man going through a lot and changing into the monster and going through a lot, and then the transitions in between the two and back. I just always liked that. I've never really played a character like that, but I would love to play a wolfman-like character who, with the prosthetics, that would excite me.
Yeah,
and it doesn't have to be the Wolfman, but yeah, something like that would be really cool for me. It would be fun.
Yeah,
I'd have a fun time.
Absolutely.
So
yeah. How about you, Stephanie?
That's tough because last time we spoke, I had said that I wanted to go more into the villain type roles, but now I'm finding myself really wanting to be in just literally a flat, or hopefully not flat, but a romantic comedy where it's like the underdog who maybe is, down on her luck, that sort of like a Bridesmaids type thing that like comes in with a group of friends, and just to work with a lot of really strong like female actresses from the area, and to have it become like maybe she's resistant to romance or to meeting somebody, and then someone like a Rick character who maybe is not as social, or maybe a little bit more of a like isolated type individual, then you say like, let's go out and let's kind of try this, and then
like a caveman.
Yeah. No, I didn't say caveman.
You said like Rick.
No, you're not a caveman.
Sorry, we're having a fight.
Oh no, we're not having a fight. See, I knew this was going to turn into this, but something like that where it's like an unexpected romantic comedy. So something that's different than maybe what we've been seeing around here, because I don't feel like a lot of filmmakers around here want to go the comedy route. Like, we just saw Jeff's movie Dead, and I like that because it's like an underdog kind of, hey, look at this poor guy that's been beat up and, his life falls apart. Well, how about a female protagonist that goes through something similar, but also has the support of her girl squad and friends? And
what about like a caveman gets transported into modern times and
Encino Man?
Similar, but he's rescued by a pretty young woman who tries to help him, and all the difficulties that would that would transpire, and then it turns into a romance.
She's like a teacher in a way. But
what do you think she sees in him?
I think she sees just
kind of
maybe
like
some of herself.
He's like the original Marlboro man. He's rugged.
Okay.
He's
but maybe
a little rough around the edges.
Yeah, sort of.
He dresses
not really kept up
kind
with
of
his
rustic
appearance.
Fur, and
maybe he's a wolf man.
He's hairy.
And then she shaves him. No,
he has a protruding brow.
Now again, I just think though that something like that would be an awesome challenge and something.
But he's
I would
sensitive.
love. But also, too, I would like for her to be a mother figure, because so much of my life lately has been taking on the role of both, like, stepmother embracing that more. Cat mom, but also being a substitute teacher. Just there's so many kids that just are looking for someone that will give them that extra love and attention. And I like working with younger actors. In fact, we went to see Wait Until Dark, which Rick played Kendall's father in The Miracle Worker, and she played Helen Keller. And
what
I just
an
love working with younger.
Story. We've brought this podcast. We've talked about The Miracle Worker a few times. It had a big impact on me, and it was like a film that I saw. I saw the film version.
Have you seen the play?
Not on stage. No.
Oh, it's amazing.
I want to. Yeah, I'm all about it. Great. But it's I think
we did
Patty Duke
with
is
Prime
in the film.
Stage.
Yeah.
What's that?
We did it with Prime Stage.
I think we talked about.
I think we did talk.
Yeah, it's but Patty Duke in the film version of it, who has the record for the shortest Oscar speech ever. She won the Oscar, and she just said thank you and went, and it was great.
I love Patty Duke.
I saw that film when I was a very young kid. And I'd never forgotten it. I finally was like, look up what the Helen Keller movie was. I watched it again in college. I'm like, wow, this is incredible. And then like the next day or something, it turned out she died like while I was watching it or something. Like it was close. Like it was, one of those. That kind of things happened a few times. When I just randomly think of some celebrity and I see their thing and then they die. So
have you seen Wait Until Dark?
No.
Are you familiar with it?
Don't think about me.
Don't think about us, right? Okay.
I never stop, guys. Come on.
But Wait Until Dark, I have not seen the film version. Now Rick has, and you said that it.
I've seen the film, and I've seen it on stage too. Before.
She got the Oscar, right? Is that right?
I don't know. I don't know if she got the Oscar or not. I'm not positive about that, but yeah, it was a great movie.
Talk about an intense play. I mean, yikes! Like from the beginning to the end, it's
nonstop.
Yeah, it is. It just and it's really, really a thriller, mystery, and
the main character is a female who's blind.
Yeah, film.
And it takes place in her basement apartment.
Yeah.
And these guys are after her husband, and it's turns into a crime scene, and there's murder, and there's it's intense.
And you think because she can't see that she doesn't know what's happening, but honestly
she's at a disadvantage.
She's like hypersensitive to sounds and to smells and everything, and that's how she's able to really get herself out of this.
She turns the table and puts herself, uses her disadvantage to her advantage to have a leg up on her assailants.
I want to go back to something you were saying earlier, Stephanie, about the type of film you'd like to be in with, you mentioned a few of the other actresses that are in Pittsburgh, all that. What do you think is the main, I mean, I don't know how much of if this is something you can answer at the moment, but what do you think the main thing that would be preventing that from happening is at the moment? Is it just having the script written for that kind of thing?
I think that Rick and I both need to write, and it's something that I hate to put it this way. It's very laborious, but it also, if you have that writer's block, I mean, we have so many ideas, but then once you get going and once you establish dialogue, it just can be so very tedious and tough. So it's like if we could collaborate with someone who is a strong writer, and there's plenty of them in town, it's something that we both are capable of doing. But maybe because we're so busy, we just put it off too, because there's like all these ideas that, you shelf. And then you think, well, I'm going to get around to it at some point. So I think that's super important. But also having a great production team. Like, we're not camera people. You know, we have a camera, which is his iPhone. So that's, I mean, I'm sad that we don't have something more fancy, but the iPhone 13 does pretty well. But we don't have sound equipment. We're actors and we're, you know, directors. So we're the people that sort of need a crew. And we don't have like an established crew. We have people we love working with, but we would have to put all of those.
Is that your question?
Those ingredients together.
Okay.
So plus gathering the actors that you want to have available for your project. So many people are busy now, especially like the summer. I feel like everybody's doing like 8 or 9 things, you know, whether it be traveling or, you know, hi, I'm in this play, or I'm doing this short film or whatever, or I have to refilm something because somebody quit. Like, going through that too, which is that's one thing about this biz that really does sometimes irk me a little bit. It's just individuals that you like commit to a project and you spend 8 months filming, and then all of a sudden somebody's not in it anymore, or somebody's like, I'm sorry, I don't have any availability, and then the project doesn't get completed. That's like one of the most frustrating things about maybe this level of filmmaking.
Well, I think those you're talking about projects that have no budget.
No, well, exactly, or they don't have a budget, so it's like, how are you gonna
that's the biggest issue I think with most independent films is you may have writers and crew and actors, but you don't always have the producer on board who knows how to raise money so that you have a budget. Because when you're not paying the actors, it's hard to keep them anchored to a project that takes a year to put together. So I think that's a little bit of a flaw in local independent filmmaking, is there's almost never a budget.
When you're talking about this, I don't know how fleshed out this idea is that you just mentioned, but are you thinking of this more as like a feature or a short?
Feature.
Yeah.
And that's the other challenge, is just like he said, getting even like a proof of concept together and getting that dedicated cast and crew, but having at least somewhat of a budget, because if you don't, that's really gonna, you know, you would even like to say like, at least maybe my craft services are great, or, you know, hey, maybe one of the perks is I can give you a few bucks here because you drove out and spent your weekend, you know, filming with me. So that kind of thing. But for actors that want to act and for directors that want to direct, the end game for the feature film is that you have something to show for it, but that you're proud of. Because there's plenty of projects that I can say that maybe over the years I look back on like my part of it and I was maybe happy with it, or I wasn't. But then I look at the whole, you know, big picture literally, and I think, did this really accomplish what the director or the writers wanted it to? Maybe, but, you know, where I fit in, yeah, maybe makes sense, but I want everything to be better. I want everything to be elevated, and maybe it's just all subjective and objective, but that's why we do what we do, to try to, I think, make it a better world. Like to,
you need a budget.
But yeah, you need a budget, and you need a producer. You need someone to keep you on time. You need someone to, if you don't have a great script,
brings a budget. If it's exposed properly to the right people.
Speaking of a great script, I did finally get to see Oppenheimer, because remember last time when we spoke, I didn't get to. My gosh, blown away. I mean, I hate to use that analogy, but it was just so. I'm sorry. It's
fine. It's been like 80 years. You can say
that last scene where they do test the atomic bomb. I thought, wow. I mean, just the sheer emotional toll that took on him. I mean, that's why he got Best Actor. You know, there was no question about it.
When I saw it in the theater, and
I didn't get to see it in the theater.
The thing that I thought I was most impressed, I mean, you had an incredible cast, but the pacing and the editing in that film were just...
And that was a female editor.
Incredible.
And she got Best... Yeah. She won the Oscar.
I was not surprised.
I don't remember her name, but
call at all.
Yeah, you need a really good. I forgot to bring that up. You need a really good editor for your film. So whatever that feature film is, we need an amazing editor too. Any editors out there? I know you guys.
You can't have a weak facet of a film.
No, that's true.
You really
can't. That's a good point. Yeah, there's some films, like, depending on genre, there's some things you can kind of get away with, but. Yeah, it's and it's tough because you don't want to have any facet of your film be weak, but there's certain things that you have to prioritize because you are going to have to sacrifice things you don't want to. I think Peter Jackson once said, sometimes you go out to shoot something and at every level you're going to have problems of the weather wasn't quite right, or maybe the set isn't exactly the way you imagined it would be. But if your film is named King Kong, then the monkey better look really, really great. And I was like, yeah, that's kind of a cool summation of, how to prioritize things. But even that,
Peter Jackson, he's got some budgets.
Oh yeah, he's like
projects.
now he does, but he started with his first feature film, Bad Taste. It's like shot it over weekends over 4 years with friends. Some friends
4
fell out of
years?
it. Yeah, it took him 4 years to make the thing. And he had friends who were working on it with him, and then one of his friends got into a relationship with a girl who didn't like that he was involved with the film, so he kind of got written out, and then they broke up and they wrote him back in. and it was just like
sometimes there's
Thankfully, that's
advantages
never
to
happened.
taking
Yeah.
your time.
Yeah,
That's never happened to us, thankfully.
it was
but-
nuts. It's a crazy movie, and the first time I watched it, I
don't
didn't
think I've
get
seen
it. I was
It's
just
called Bad Taste?
Bad
Okay.
Taste. It's a splatter film made in
Oh,
New
wow.
Zealand by Peter Jackson and his friends. Shot on film, paid for by his job, developing pictures for a newspaper.
Oh, jeez.
And it's basically just a really roided up home video. It's with
to
some
check it
really
out.
great
Yeah.
I want to watch it.
great practical effects. But the coolest thing for me was after I saw the film, I was just like, I don't understand how this guy was ever allowed near Lord of the Rings. Was that he made a documentary after it called Good Taste Made Bad Taste, or How Good Taste Made Bad Taste. It's a documentary about the behind the scenes of just the making of this film.
Right.
And that documentary changed my life. It's amazing. I was just like, well, if I just have this type of work ethic, then I'm gonna get somewhere, unless I'm just bad at this. It was really inspiring. But yeah, it's trying to figure out you can't really have a weak aspect to your film. I mean, it's I think Jackie Chan, just to quote another person, was like, are you gonna go to every movie theater and tell everyone hey, by the way, the weather didn't work here, we couldn't get this shot right? It's like, no one cares.
Right.
It's like, good film, bad film, that's all people care about.
Show me the
show me
movie.
the end product.
Yeah, you shouldn't have to talk through your movie for other people to get it and all that.
We had one recently
rough
that
cuts are
we
different.
dealt with elements, and believe it or not, the only element that we didn't deal with was the element that they needed in the film. It's called Christmas at Kilo 7 at Regent University.
Yeah.
So talk about their professional level filmmaking. In fact, it's endowed.
It was endowed by the
at
university.
The university.
I guess they have a competition every year, and there were 60-some scripts submitted,
Yep.
short scripts, and Caleb Lawrence won the endowment. So his script, he got to direct it, and they cast a lot of it through the university, but there are a couple lead characters they wanted from the professional arena, so they had a professional casting, and they brought me down to play the lead in this film, which was an incredible experience. It truly was.
Yeah.
And that will I guess be released in this coming fall.
Oh, great.
There's a trailer out already, but it'll be released in the fall, and they're writing an original score, and a lot of things happening. But what's really cool about it, because Regent University is the home of the Christian Broadcasting Network, which their studios are on campus. Regent University was founded by Pat Robertson, the
700 Club.
The 700 Club.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which is a religious TV show. And so their short film is up for potential Emmys because of their TV network affiliation. So yeah, we'll see. It'll be exciting to see how that plays
And it was
out.
done in black and white, which I think it
Yeah, it was filmed in color,
looks
but
great.
they
in post
made
to
it black
make
and
it just the story, without giving it too much away, is Rick's character is you're in the military. What's your
Air Force?
Rank? Yeah, Air Force. You commander? No.
I'm level of sergeant.
Sergeant, I think.
Yeah, but it's sergeant something.
Yeah. And then
I forget.
So it's on Christmas Eve, and then without again giving too much away, they needed it to snow. It wasn't going to snow.
We filmed in Virginia Beach.
55 degrees.
Okay. In March.
But let me just say, it was the wettest weekend that they had experienced in a long time. We're talking, because I help with crew, but I also have a cameo at the very end that the director
also got cast.
Gave me to have that. Yeah, I didn't ask for it either. So I won't ask people if they don't put me in their film, but put me in your film. So anyways, they had these tarps over all the equipment, and it was so much rain that it was like pooling, and then it was starting to drip down onto it. And we're talking like $100,000 worth of equipment. And so they had to move it 3 times, and then the wind the next day, 35-mile-an-hour winds. The tarps were blowing away. Again, I'm going to hit your microphone. And then
they brought in a snow machine.
Snow. So it wasn't quite cold enough. It was windy enough for it to be, but it was like 45-ish degrees or so. This snow machine was just the coolest thing I've ever seen. They almost look like little bubbles, and they have, I guess, cotton fibers added to them.
Okay.
And that's what you see. That's why they're white.
It's literally soap.
But it's a soapy thing that disintegrates. But that's why they look the way they do.
And it blows in the wind. It looks exactly like snow.
And it looks like it's coming out of this giant hair dryer. Like just... you just blow it out of this big old,
nice.
Yep. And we had 2 of them or 3 of them. And then they came in for 2 hours, did that, got the shots. And in black and white, they look fantastic. And then Rick got to be in a Hummer.
Humvee.
Really, H1? Yeah, the big one. You don't realize how wide those are. Like me sitting next to him here, there would be a whole other 2 chairs in between us almost. So imagine sitting in that with, hi, how are you over there? So I said, I want to lay across here like in the middle, because the sound person did. The sound person was down here like this in between them.
That's nice.
So that they could capture the dialogue.
Yeah.
And I got to have a scene with Robert Shepard, who's done over 100 films.
He was in Lincoln.
He was in Lincoln with Daniel Day Lewis.
He played the doctor.
He played Lincoln's attending doctor.
Wow.
And he
got to be directed.
Yeah, it was directed by Spielberg.
And
had the whole cast with him in that scene, and that was incredible.
He plays the commander in the film.
So we had a scene, and it was great to meet him.
Absolutely.
Heck of a guy.
Well, that's fantastic. Well, I want to make sure we hit a couple other topics here. So I understand, Stephanie, you have some things to tell us about WIFM coming up, Women in Film and Media.
Yep, Women in Film and Media, and I know you talked to Crystal, and so I have an event in July, but I'll talk about the picnic first. So the picnic is June 22nd. It's going to be at North Park, and the time's like noon to 5, but we're going to have raffle baskets. So Rick and I are going to do one. It's going to be a escape to relaxation package. So it'll just be like facial stuff and bath bombs and things like that, and teas maybe. And then
I'm just finding this out.
Yeah, it's okay. I'll put it together, honey. Don't you worry. I'll just put our business card on it. And then there's going to be ones from like the Pittsburgh Film Office. There's going to be a couple of different raffles too, just for gift cards and things like that. So I know we're going to have those. We're going to have things like sack races and
you don't have to be a member.
You don't have to. It's still it's 2 for 1. So it's $5, and I think it's $10 if you're not a member. But you get like refreshments. We're gonna have
2 for 1. You can buy 2 tickets.
And like you and I can go for $2.50 a piece.
So you buy
if we
one.
Split it. Yeah.
Is that members or is that everybody?
Members? Members get that.
So what about a non-member?
I think it's $10.
$10.
Yeah.
And we'll have a link in the description below.
So there's that, but there's also gonna be. And beverages will have like hot dogs, hamburgers, things like that. So it'll be a fun time. Picnic. And if it's not nice weather, we're still going to have some games and raffles, but we'll just do it under the pavilion and do that. And then the event I'm very excited about is the Women in Film and Media. We're just calling it the professional panel of industry individuals. It's going to be at Bruner, and it's going to be July 30th, which is a Tuesday. It's like a happy hour time, so it's like 5 to 7. And we're going to have individuals from like the news media. We're going to maybe have a few advertising folks. We're going to try to do like it to be more encompassing of sort of the media side of things as well as the production side, because we had our directors and producers panel. Now we're going to explore some other areas. So that's going to be 5 to 7 on July 30th at Bruner. And again, you don't have to be a member, and it's all genders, everyone's welcome. Mm-hmm. So that's what we want women in film and media people to know, is it's not just women.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's fantastic. So, yeah, we've got links to those in the description below, everybody. And if you want to learn even more about those events, you can check out the Crystal Grandy episode that we did. Crystal talks a bit about that as well, and the types of people and professions that would particularly benefit from these events. So sometimes people wonder, like, oh, well, I'm an actor, I'm a writer, is this something that's for me or not? And she goes into that a bit as well. So
there's a lot of networking done there at those events, which is incredible.
And advertisers too that might want to participate, because I know that they collaborate with a lot of individuals that way. But I really do appreciate that Bruner is going to do it, because like we don't have to worry about anything. They're just going to kind of have us there, and we'll have the panel, and that'll be that. So I'm excited.
Well, that's wonderful news. Well, yeah, we look forward to that, the picnic in June and then the panel in July. So I understand some more exciting news that both of you are going to be going to the British Isles and Ireland this summer, correct?
So our honeymoon.
Yeah, we finally get to take our honeymoon.
Oh, is that what it's for? Oh, that's wonderful.
Belated honeymoon.
Yeah. Finally, yeah.
Congratulations.
We got married on St. Patrick's Day.
Oh, wonderful. Yeah. Very good, very good.
Right before the pandemic.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we were going to go in 2020, and that got pushed back, and now we're going to go.
Well, that's
Ireland
fantastic.
and Scotland.
Yeah, we're going to Scotland first. It's a 12-day trip, so we get to fly into, is it pronounced Glasgow? Is that how you, or is it
Glasgow?
Glasgow.
Yeah.
So we're going to go to Glasgow, and that's our first stop, and then we get to go to Edinburgh, and I can roll my R's and sound a little bit more.
Yeah, Glasgow, I believe, is where Big Yin, or Billy Connolly's from, and I'm not sure if Sean Connery was born there. I just know that he beat up the biggest gang in Glasgow by himself once.
He did.
That guy was crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, national treasure. Yeah, Sean Connery, like just this entire, like the biggest, most notorious gang in Glasgow, apparently all of them jumped him at once and he laid them all out. So, you probably won't run into that, though. He dealt with them, so
when is the film festival there?
Which one? The Glasgow Film Festival? I'm not sure.
Or even like
There's probably
the
a
one
few.
in Edinburgh, because I know that's a big.
I don't know. I'm trying to think, because I know that I've had some of my films play at some festivals in Scotland, but I forget if it's been the Edinburgh one, because it would have been the film that I did like right after graduating film school. Or probably, I don't know. I'm not actually sure. It would be easy enough to find out on Film Freeway.
That's your background, right? Because you
very Scottish, yes. Very Irish and Manx. Which I always have to explain, which gives me no end of pleasure. But there's so if you've got Ireland, England, and Scotland, then right in the middle there, which is the Isle of Man, known as Ellen Vannin and Manx. And that's where the TT race is, a very famous motorcycle race, and all kinds of wonderful things.
I have a friend from college who lives on the Isle of Man.
Really? No kidding. Wow, that's really cool.
Right?
I believe he's one of the original Blue Men.
Wow, that's really cool.
Back in the day.
And he moved there. How did he pick that? Did he just...
I don't know.
Okay.
I haven't seen him for quite some time to ask him that, but it's been
But every time he brings that up, I laugh. So if you're from there, you're Manx?
Manx,
okay.
Yes. So, yeah, that's my Nana's maiden name is Crane, which originates on the Isle of Man, and more people on the Isle of Man today live there with that name than the rest of the world. Wow. So as far back, I think, as there are names and records that go That's my Nana's side of the family, so it's
awesome.
kind of a cool thing. But yeah,
if there's anything you want us to hand carry over, let us know.
Oh, absolutely.
Or bring back.
Well, yeah, perhaps. Well, if you get a chance, I'm sure you're gonna have a really tight schedule, but since you're gonna be in Scotland in July, there's a good chance that you're gonna be there at the same time as the Edinburgh Military Tattoo. Which is a world-class show. If you get a chance to go see it, you should. You want to plan in advance to go to it, but it's an incredible
military tattoo.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So a tattoo is kind of like a parade.
Okay.
It's a little different than that, but you can look up some of this stuff online. But what the gist of it is that military bands from all around the world come to perform in Edinburgh, Scotland, at the castle. So it's like the Edinburgh Castle is the backdrop to this show.
We are going to be going there. Mm-hmm.
So you have to go to the castle. It's great. You know.
When you said tattoo, I'm like, we have to go get a tattoo there?
No,
no. But
tattoo is a type of event. So
that's interesting.
They've got bands they've got the Gurkhas there. They've got marching bands from military regiments in New Zealand, and the Top Secret Drum Line or Top Secret Drum Corps, I forget. I think it's Top Secret Drum Line, which is a Swiss drum line that will do things that you didn't know were possible. It's amazing.
Will there be bagpipers?
And thousands of them. Yeah, absolutely. So you've got all that. So it's you won't get another show like that anywhere else in the world. It's really special. So
definitely
correlates with when we're going to be there. But I do know I'm super excited to go to the Ring of Kerry because it's something I've wanted to see for a long time. Dublin as well, but we also go to the Cliffs of Moher and the Blarney Stone. I'm not as excited about that as I thought I would be. After I heard that a elderly, decrepit gentleman will be lowering you down, and he's been there for thousands of years, and he holds on to you.
Well, he's
for
the
dear
best
life.
at it,
That's right. I've been alive since the beginning of time, and then he lowers you down, and you hope you don't fall 100 feet to your doom. But we'll see what the spirit brings. Literally,
I've
spirit.
kissed it, and I'll kiss it again.
Oh,
okay.
All right.
Well, if you're going to be brave, maybe I will be too. But I'm looking forward to visiting some really great distilleries too, because that's something. And I wanted to have an authentic Guinness. Well, since I could drink.
I've heard that they actually do taste different over there.
He could tell you, yeah.
Yeah, something about the transportation process alters it or something when it comes.
Guinness doesn't travel.
That's what I hear.
Over the sea.
Is it room temperature too? And it's not super carbonated. It's more.
I don't know that it's room temperature,
milky.
But it's not super cold.
Which is the way you're supposed to have it.
I'll still drink it, but
yes.
whenever I don't know what to get, I get a Guinness.
It's so thick already. If you can almost have one, I think, and feel like
it's like drinking a loaf of bread. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like all the advertising over there too.
Huh?
I like all the advertising that Guinness does. There's literally posters everywhere.
Yeah. Do they still use the toucan?
Feeling tired? Have a Guinness.
You feeling tired? Feeling awake? Have a Guinness.
A little sad? Have a Guinness.
Elated? Have a Guinness.
Whatever.
It would really help. A Guinness.
My Guinness. I think there was a shirt I saw that was
solution to everything.
I like that.
Yeah. That's cute.
Well, that's fantastic. Well, I wish you safe and happy travels.
Thank you.
Thank you.
To those islands.
If we come back, because my dream is to also live there. So.
Oh well,
maybe
there you go.
Make some films and meet some folks over there in Scotland and Ireland. And
the one thing that I'd say, since you're going to be sort of touristing around, is that especially in Scotland, there's some really brilliantly just breathtaking vistas and landscapes and all that, and it's very tempting to just go on a walk up that hill over there, and then the elements come in and you die. So just be smart, all that. But
so you're warning Rick to not let me go up the hillside.
Yeah.
Okay.
St. Clair Cathedral.
I haven't been to that one. I've been to a bunch of cathedrals.
If I could get there, I'd like to see that.
Yeah, there isn't a single cathedral I've been to that I've really been disappointed in. They're all great. So, yeah, any chance you get to, if you go to any, like, old town or something, there's a cathedral there, stop in. Like, you won't forget it. So.
Did you ever, in Ireland, there's Trinity College, and that's where the Book of Kells is located?
That's one of my dreams. I love calligraphy. I've been enamored with all that kind of thing. I do Celtic knot work, like when I draw and all that. I have since I was, like, probably 14. I've done a lot of art projects that have involved Celtic knotwork, and it's I'm still mesmerized and in love with it, and it's a pretty common fixture of, like, you know, a lot of things that I make or possess. So I hope one day to see the Book of Kells. I can
bring it back for you.
It belongs there, but I appreciate that. But yes.
Why is Stephanie in an Irish jail for
why does Stephanie live in Ireland now?
You know, I live here because I'm in prison.
She's in prison.
But it was worth it.
There's only one book, volume, manuscript thing that I want to see more than the Book of Kells.
And what would that be?
The Venetus A, which is the oldest complete copy of Iliad, which is my favorite book. And it was spirited away from Constantinople before it was conquered.
Would it be in Greek then, or?
It's I believe it's in Greek, and
it's all Greek.
It's Homeric Greek, and it's in Venice, Italy.
Okay.
At their very special, awesome library.
Have you been there? You been to Venice?
Been to Venice.
I want to go to Venice, and I've reached out to their library before and asked, like, listen, I'm not a published whatever professor person, but it's just one of my goals to. I'm like, I don't even want to open it, you know. Like, I don't think you even can anymore, because they did a special scan of the whole thing.
Is it online? Oh,
yeah,
that's cool.
Very high quality, very wonderful scan that's open and free to the public, and they have a 3D version of it, like a 3D scan of it, where, like, you can turn the pages, and it's like got the same ripples as the pages do now. Like, it was really a first class, you know, preservation project, and I did get a reply, you know, but
you did?
Yeah, but I'm not sure the person who answered my email totally knew what I was asking at the time, because they just like, oh, well, you can't check this book out. I'm like, no, I'm not trying to
check it
I'm
out.
not asking if I can borrow it. You know, like, I know you're a library, I just kind of want to see it, even if it's just behind glass. Like, I don't know if they have it on display or not, you know. And apparently it's like, I've read some accounts or stories from people who have gotten to see it, and it's like, yeah, it's locked up and very well taken care of.
What year would it be? BC?
No. This copy would be from, like, the 1400s, I believe.
1400s, okay.
When it was written, it's all by hand, of course, and maybe late 13. I'm not exactly sure when it was made.
So would the monk somewhere have?
Yeah,
described it?
So Constantinople was, like, I believe technically the last main city of the Byzantine Empire. All right, and it was the last time that a Christian nation, I believe, was conquered by a Muslim nation. I believe there's historical technical terms to this.
What city is Constantinople now?
Now it's called Istanbul by some
right,
people, but I weep. Anyway.
Is that Turkey? In Turkey? Or
yeah, so it's
Turkey?
like the famous building with all the domes and the 4 towers coming off of it, the Hagia Sophia.
Yeah.
Spelled Hagia Sophia, but depending on who you are and how you talk, you know. But yeah, originally it was this church, and those 4 pillars, like towers that are on it, were added to when they converted it to a mosque. So it's like one of the, like, if you look at the architecture of it, it's this very strange looking building, and if you don't know better, you might think, oh, well, maybe that's what mosques look like. It's like, no, that was
looks
a
like
church.
they're missiles almost.
The four
like
on the corners of it, and but it's like got the very pointy towers on the four corners of it, but then it's like all these domes on top of domes. That's the center bit of it is the Byzantine architecture. You have the Byzantine Empire. That's all wrapped up in like the First Crusade in like 1096 when the Muslim part of the world is coming into the Christian part of the world. It's the terminology from the time, and then the Byzantines.
Templars would.
That would be later than
later?
the First Crusade.
Like...
So yeah, that would be more. I think the Templars were 11 or 1200. They start. So 1096 ish. I mean, the Crusades are kind of funny because people kind of argue on when they technically started, because there's like the People's Crusade, before the First Crusade, which is called the First Crusade, and there's a bunch of crusades, and some that people don't even technically count, and some that do. So it's a whole like history's complicated,
Right.
So, but the Byzantines and the Roman Catholics had basically split. Then the Muslims are coming into Europe and are attacking the Byzantine Empire. This is very simplified, but the Byzantine emperor says to the Pope, like, hey, can you help us out here, buddy? And the Pope's like, hey, maybe this is a great chance to get the band back together. And all this is because of all kinds of other things that have happened, whether it's like the Vikings are raiding all over the place, and so everybody in Europe builds castles and has men-at-arms, and the Vikings aren't necessarily that great at sieges, and then the Viking age ends, and you have all these men-at-arms and castles, and it's like, what are you going to do with all these guys who have... like their whole job is being able to fight, and now maybe they don't have as many people to fight. Well, you start fighting each other more, but then you also have 2/3 of the, once again, quote, Christian world conquered by the Muslim world over a period of like 400 years. We've kind of gone off track, but I don't mind. It's my podcast, everybody. I love history, or at least I think it's important.
Our territory, basically. Then.
But yeah, if you ever get a chance to go to Hagia Sophia, that'd be cool. I'd like to go there too. It's all just very crazy, wild history.
We actually love history, by the way.
Yeah?
So we watch the History Channel a lot. I mean, it's probably one of the networks that's...
My youngest was a history major from college.
Favorites,
fantastic.
Yeah. And my father loves history, and so we always talk about that. But, that's what I think is great about even artists, is that there is a lot to be learned, even being artists, from history and from what's been done before and what maybe we tend to take for granted, especially in this world of AI and this world of, all of us computer-generated stuff and technology and cell phones. I think that history, I love the fact that we get to go somewhere with such a rich history and get to experience that.
Well, you're definitely going to get that in Scotland and Ireland. So if you get a chance to see the Book of Kells, really soak that up, because that...
Can I touch it? No.
Yeah.
Get your grimy hands off it.
You need a license to But
I have seen it. I've been to Ireland.
Really?
Gotta put on the gloves.
Stephanie hasn't been to Ireland.
No, and that's been
but I have been.
My dream, so I finally get to at 45 years old get it. So.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. If you choose to bring any libations back with you, it might be prudent to make sure whether they are or aren't available in the United States, because there was one time I was getting off, I had a connecting flight through Ireland, and I get off the plane, and you get off and you're going there, and there's a lovely young lady with a little booth, and she's like, real Irish whiskey, they don't sell this in America, and all that, and okay. Better get some of this. And I got a bottle of Writer's Tears, because I'm a writer. That sounds, tears, I can romantically drink this while I have writer's block or something, be like, I'm so sad what I'm writing, whatever. And I just had that vision of writing by candlelight while drinking my Writer's Tears whiskey, which I fulfilled this dream, and it was lovely. But I also fulfilled the realization that a week later, getting back to the United States, I was in a wine and spirits shop, and there it was.
I was going to say, I've actually seen writer's tears at the liquor store.
And I was like, I fell for it. Well, it's part of the experience.
Did you actually cry some writer's tears?
Nah, I thought it was funny.
I hope you didn't overpay for it.
I was like, you got
really me. You can't get that in America, actually.
You probably paid less for it, I'll bet.
Probably, actually, yeah. Maybe. Or more, I don't know. It was worth it either way, because I got a little story out of it. So.
So momentum.
And now it's my bottle that I like. If I have a little bit left of something, I pour them all in there to just have a little awful party trick to have, which sometimes works. But yeah.
What, if plural?
Momentum. Momentum is.
Momentum is like movie. Memento is.
Memento.
Oh, Memento.
Yeah.
All right,
Memento.
yeah.
It's Memento.
It's also a movie.
Yes, it is.
A good movie.
Yeah, it's. I remember the first time I watched it, it was not loading on the streaming service that I had, so every 30 seconds it was pain and suffering. But it was worth it in the end.
Memento. I don't know that I saw that.
It's Christopher Nolan's.
It's a Christopher Nolan.
One of his earlier films.
One of his. Since we talked about Tenet last time, we talked about, I think, Memento was maybe one that we referenced too. But yeah.
It's a really
Dark Knight Rises, and
I keep hearing that they're going to remake Memento, which I'm like, that would be interesting. I don't know, but I keep hearing that. I'm not sure it's happening. Who knows? It's kind of, I almost think it would be a little weird to remake a movie that's from a filmmaker that's become like his own sort of brand, and it was like his original film, but he's still like kind of like relatively young, I guess. Like I don't know. It's like, I guess that movie came out in like the 90s or something. It's been a while.
Yeah, it was the 90s.
They don't wait that long for a new Spider-Man movie, sure, but yeah, I just thought it was a little. I'm like, maybe I don't know.
And sometimes I'm
people
a purist.
Go see it, make it. But
I don't like sometimes remakes just because I feel like you can't outdo the original. Like that's just my opinion. Just
sometimes you do.
Yeah.
Do you have? Well, on that note, is there a film that you would remake if you could?
Is there one that you would? I would remake.
I never thought about it.
I would remake Shawshank Redemption.
Wow.
But I would have Rick in it.
Yeah.
No,
talk to my agent.
Okay. You can talk to me. No, I feel like that it's such a strong movie, and I love Tim Robbins, and that's my favorite role that he ever played. He's so fantastic. I don't know who literally could outdo that, but I think it'd be interesting to see it from a female perspective, almost to like turn his character into
It's hard
a
to
woman.
take a great movie and try to redo
You can
it
sometimes do that
to make it better. You'd have better luck taking maybe a mediocre film and making it.
Yeah. And sometimes to turn that protagonist from a male into a female can be effective. Like I'm sure you're familiar with having a musical theater background. There's like Nonsense Amen, or any of the ones that turn like sort of we'll say the gender roles like opposite one another, and it can be impactful and work. But I think it has to be a really strong adaptation and really strong execution of that story.
I think remakes, it's usually, I think it's a good idea for a remake to really take a different angle on the source material, even if it's like, one of my favorite movies is Kelly's Heroes, which has everybody in it from that time, I think, including Clint Eastwood and Don Rickles, but it's a World War
60s or 70s?
I think it was the 70s. It might have been late 60s.
Yeah, I know it's right around that time.
But it's got Donald Sutherland, who plays one of my favorite characters.
He's a great actor.
But it's a World War II movie. But I thought, this could be. You could take this concept and make it modern day, and then I found out they did. There's a movie called Three Kings, and it's about the war in Iraq. I'm pretty sure it's Iraq.
I think we might have watched that one, actually.
It's got George Clooney.
We did.
And
so that's based on. You said Kelly's.
It seems to be inspired by Kelly's Heroes. Just the concept of, hey, there's a bunch of gold that belonged to the enemy that we could probably steal. let's do a heist in the middle of a war zone while we're still deployed, and let's just go AWOL for a bit and maybe no one will notice, you know. I'm like, that's a great idea, and kind of opened up my eyes to I used to think that the way that militaries were run was like every bullet had a number, and if it's missing then there's an investigation, and it's like sometimes that's the case apparently. Like if I mean, it depends where you are, but you know, you hear people in like the Army talk about when they turn their equipment back in, if they're missing anything, then it's like they have to pay for it. But then you also hear about like someone just, you know, took a Humvee into the desert and no one, you know, paid attention for a while.
Rick,
I guess.
why didn't you do that with the one that?
But
I'd like to do redo the film The Dresser.
The Dresser. What's that?
It was Albert Finney and Tom Courtenay, and it's World War II, England, and Albert Finney's character Sir is the head of a Shakespeare company, and how they struggle to bring Shakespeare to the different theaters in London during the bombings.
I really want to see that.
Yeah, it's a pretty incredible film.
It really is.
Wow.
From the historic perspective and also from the stage actor's perspective. It's really unique.
The Dresser.
It was originally, I believe it was originally a play that then became a film. I believe that's how they did it. I don't believe it was in reverse. Sometimes films become a play.
Right.
But it was a play that became a film, The Dresser. And it's about the lead actor of the company, Sir, and his dresser, who basically is the glue that holds Sir together and literally the company. It's a really unique dynamic. It's very emotional, very deeply felt, and it has a lot of messages going on at the same time. There's layers to it, which are really cool.
I'd love to see that. It's my family was, you know, very on my dad's side was very British during the Second World War. A lot of them were in the Royal Navy, and one of them was in the Army, you know. So it's
you would love it. Let's do a watch party.
I would like that. Yeah, I'd love
that'd be really cool.
Yeah, that'd be really great.
Because it's
But
one
we're
of my
not going to watch
favorite.
the remake of Ghostbusters because that was just a poor idea. They're talking about women.
Well,
now,
I mean, on that note, I think you do. Like, I mean, I haven't seen the new Ghostbusters. I haven't heard anything good about it, but I think that what you're talking about is sometimes a good idea. You know,
if you can effectively,
like if it
tell the story with it being woman instead of a man, or you know, female instead of male.
Yeah,
vice versa.
This might be what it's kind of already about to some people, but I always thought it would be interesting to do a remake of Frankenstein. But Dr. Frankenstein, that character, is a woman who's doing her career with this, and it kind of plays what the film would really be about is an unwanted pregnancy with creating this life. You know, like that's sort of, I think would be a cool angle to take on it. You know,
that would be Mary Shelley.
Right. You know, it's like,
Well,
so.
you mean the pregnancy is the baby is the monster, or?
Well, yeah, like the monster plays that sort of role thematically in the story. Yeah.
Did you see Poor Things?
Not yet. I just rewatched The Lobster, which is by the same director.
Yeah. Oh my.
So I need to see that.
Yeah, because without getting into too much,
it's high on my list. My wife and I were she had not seen The Lobster yet. I saw it when it came out, and but yeah, we rewatched that, and because she wanted to watch a few other films by the filmmaker before checking out Poor Things, so we did that. I liked The Lobster a lot more this time than the first time.
That's the one. Is it Robert Pattinson?
No.
Or am I thinking of a different one? Oh, I'm thinking The Lighthouse. I'm sorry, I'm thinking the one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who's in The Lobster again?
Let's see. John C. Reilly's a supporting role in it.
I don't think we did end up.
Colin Farrell, I believe.
We love Colin. We love Colin Farrell.
Irish actor, right? Colin Farrell.
Oh, yes.
Okay, good.
Have you seen?
I sometimes get. There's a few actors named Colin, and I
like Colin Firth, and
I love him in The Gentleman.
Oh, that's what I was about to bring up. The Gentleman.
Oh, yeah, I saw
so
that.
now it's a limited series.
I saw the first couple episodes.
I love the movie. I don't watch many
Was it worth
movies.
the watch? Like,
The first couple episodes, yeah. I mean, it's like I wouldn't watch it with my mom, you know, but like
No,
this.
I wouldn't watch the movie either because I think
Right, yeah.
I've never heard the C word used so much in my entire life.
Geez,
I mean,
that's a cultural thing.
I'm like just like,
I don't watch many movies multiple times, but The Gentleman, I probably watched it 3 or 4 times.
Yeah,
I just think it's hilarious.
Matthew McConaughey, yeah, he's great. I mean, really everybody's.
Hugh
Grant,
Grant.
I'm super impressed. I always am impressed with him, but he's super
the C
funny
word,
and just ironic in the film.
Well, the C word in Britain is got slightly different attitude on how common it is compared with America, you know.
It's like jerk, like a
So-
jerk, you jerk, you.
Yeah, right. It's there's a bunch of it's funny how it's those little differences that are kind of funny to see, but yeah.
I just almost wanted to wash my own mouth out with soap, like after watching it, even though I did say the word, just because I felt like this movie's so dirty, like, you know, just oh my goodness. But yeah.
We had an actor. We have auditions here. Sometimes people can audition at the studio for their self tapes, and we had an actor who was. It was for, I think, a musical of Robin Hood or something, and they were auditioning for the Sheriff of Nottingham, and there were some. It's written for, you know, it's a British thing, and English specifically, and there were some things in it that the actor wasn't particularly familiar with. You know, they were like, I haven't even really seen any Robin Hood movies. I'm not in this. And they're like, do you know what this means? I'm like, well, you came to the right place. So I was able to, you know, be like, it's actually pronounced this way, you know, and all that, which was kind of neat to know that, I guess.
Right.
So,
No, it's,
well,
very helpful.
Yeah. So, well, we do what we can here at the studio. So, well, I think it's it's about time to wrap up. But thank you very much for. I'm glad we got both of you here because we had talked about it before. It's
Thank
been
you
nice.
for having us.
Yeah, it's been nice to cut loose and you know, talk about what we've got going on and some shop, and then just like see where it went. It was a lot of fun for me. I enjoyed this a lot. And everybody, there's going to be links in the description below for, don't forget, you've got in June the With Him picnic, and then in July you've got the panel coming up. We've also gonna have Rick mentioned a trailer that's out for a project he was involved with, so hopefully we can put that down there for you as well. Tickets for the 48 screening on June 2nd are already sold out, so we hope we see you, you know, and if not, we hope you get them in time for the horror sci-fi this fall. Pretty sure they're doing that again. It's been a big success. So, but Stephanie and Rick, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it.
We do the,
Go StudioME.
you know, like they did in was it the dating game?
Oh, the dating game?
Remember that?
I don't know. That's before my time.
Kiss to the
BS before stuff.
Yeah.
Well, very good. Well, everyone, thank you so much for joining us on this beautiful new episode of the StudioMEcast. We hope you've enjoyed your time here, because if not, you can't get it back anyway. Hope you're the kind of person who subscribes. Please do the right thing. But whatever the case, we'll be here next time. We hope you have a good rest of your weekend, and if you're watching this at a different time, we hope we've made you feel like it's Friday. So, bye-bye. Hey, I hope you enjoyed that episode. If you want to start your own podcast, why wait? Reach out to us at StudioME.me, and I hope you hear me again soon.